Welcome back to Brave Ideas Friday 5. We're here at Campfield in Manchester at the very end of GCUC today. I'm here with my friend James Panepinto, the MC of this year's GCUC. James, you're returning to this Friday 5, so thank you for doing that, especially after a long day of MCing. Today, the topic that you're very passionate about, community, was discussed. Tell me about that.
Community, I think it's the forefront of what's everyone doing. So it's great to see it in a place like GCUC. We had 3 separate talks today that all centred around community, how it's measured, how it's priced, and how it leads into overall strategy. I
think that's important because one of the questions that came up when I want to throw back to you is, can you measure and quantify the monetization of community?
Depending on who you ask, yes. I'm on the end of the field that yes you can, because it yields value. And how can you utilise your strategy to increase death rates, retention, bring people back into the space, get people interacting with the space in days where it might not, and then also using it as a funnel for you for overall product.
And what does that mean in practical terms? How do you deploy a community strategy that's going to yield these positive results?
I use the term weaponization of community. Some people disagreed with said term, but however, we are in the money business and we are in the revenue business as much as we are in the people and the desk business. Something that in previous lives that I used to look at is the interaction of community events and our tenants or members or residents, how they interacted with said events. And if I notice a pattern, for example, they love food-led events, when they were coming up for their renewal, I made sure that we had enough of said food events in the community strategy. If I notice a member not interacting as much on the community calendar as they have been historically, I'd meet with the community team to see if we can figure out a way to pull those back in to anchor within the community.
Well, that then brings up some of the other topics we've discussed today, and that's data and AI. Are you using AI to look at the data to understand what your customers are engaging with so that you can deploy or weaponize that strategy against them or for them?
We use AI across multiple different streams and multiple different departments, so to speak. Something that we do look at is a dynamic pricing model using AI to give us the correct answers where we need them, to start measuring interactions and bouncing AI off NPS surveys to sort of determine what's working and what's not working.
You mentioned NPS surveys, which became a hot topic as well. Yeah. Gary from Foundry talked about what operators are getting wrong by deploying a crappy croissant sort of event, and then weighing the NPS scores too much. I don't want you to comment on that, but I want to find out from you, what do you think most operators get wrong when it comes to community?
I think the word was shit croissants rather than crappy croissants, to correct you. But what people get wrong in terms of community, it can't be forced. And I mean, it can't be forced in a way, I think you and I have discussed it many times in many different points during the last half decade or so, is it can't be fabricated, it can't be bottled at head office and then deployed throughout all your spaces universally, and it's going to work. I think community is a living, breathing thing. It feeds off your ecosystem, and the more you feed it, the more it grows, and the more it grows, the better yield it has to you. So by having this artificial community strategy, it's just not going to work.
So my last question for you then, because I think there's a lot of people watching this, loving everything you're saying, but maybe people within the stakeholders of their company don't buy it.
Yeah.
How should someone convince their stakeholders internally it's time to really focus on community?
Yeah, I mean, who are you convincing? Are you convincing finance to give you a bigger spend to focus on community engagement events? You're looking at sales and revenue that you can structure around retainment and minimising churn, or you're looking at outbound sales. How can we differentiate ourselves in a very, very competitive market, for example Manchester, to command higher death rates and to pull people in the building? I do think those using a very, very community forward strategy is a great way to pull in people to your spaces. I think it's a great way to get those numbers on the board. I
think it's a case of knowing your audience, who you're speaking to. So well said, good advice. There you have it, James Panepinto from Clockwise here at GCUC Manchester. Community is not just a buzzword, it's crucial. You can monetize it, you can measure it, and you can quantify it.
And you can weaponize it.
And you can weaponize it, but just not with shitty croissants. So thank you for tuning in this week. Until next time, take care of yourself.